In a world obsessed with being seen, true power lies in staying invisible. Master the shadows, and you'll shape destinies without ever stepping into the light. He wouldn't broadcast on social platforms. He wouldn't seek the spotlight. He'd be the invisible force, guiding outcomes so delicately you'd mistake them for fate. In a world craving attention, Machiavelli would thrive in obscurity. And today, I'll reveal precisely how. Not with recycled sayings, with principles. 21 psychological strategies for absolute dominance, drawn from how Machiavelli would operate in our era. People judge by appearances over actions, shape their perception, and you shape their behavior. Principle 1. Always let them underestimate you. Machiavelli knew power thrives in concealment. Today, everyone scrambles to showcase their worth, to flaunt expertise, to claim superiority, to prove they're the sharpest mind present. But Machiavelli wouldn't enter with fanfare. He'd slip in quietly, watch first, speak when least expected, and say what others wouldn't dare. In doing so, he'd command the space without drawing attention until it's too late. Let them see you as reserved. Let them see you as unthreatening. Let them see you as insignificant. When they believe you're harmless, they reveal their vulnerabilities. And that's when you act, from a position they never anticipated. Principle 2. Charisma outshines honesty. In a hyper-visible, image-driven world, truth doesn't travel. Perception does. Machiavelli understood. People see what you project. Few discern your reality. So he wouldn't waste effort proving sincerity. He'd craft an illusion. He'd charm in meetings while sowing subtle misdirection. He'd win over adversaries, feed them false assurance, and disarm them with warmth. That's the craft. Not to be virtuous, but to be perceived as virtuous. You don't need to be truthful. You need to be convincing. Don't fix their view of you. Use it. Let them anoint you the savior while you silently alter the outcome. Principle 3. Cultivate uncertainty deliberately. Most strive to be clear. Machiavelli would do the reverse. He'd keep them guessing, one moment distant, the next generous, sometimes quiet, sometimes bold. Not from indecision, but to unsettle them. Uncertainty breeds fixation. Fixation breeds attention. Attention breeds sway. When people can't pin you down, they dissect every word. They overanalyze your silence. They orbit your enigma, desperate to understand what they can't control. That's the strength. You're no longer just a person. You're a mystery. And mysteries become obsessions. Machiavelli would say, those you influence most are those who think of you most. So stop over-explaining. Stop clarifying your stance. Stop filling every pause. Leave gaps. Speak in ambiguities. Smile when they probe and you deflect. Because uncertainty sparks curiosity. And curiosity becomes magnetic. Principle 4. Shape what they see. Hide what you do. In a world where every action is shared, Machiavelli would move in secrecy. Everyone's crafting their public image, posting updates, sharing milestones, displaying proof. But the moment your methods are visible, others prepare countermeasures. They form coalitions, they spin stories, they set obstacles in your path. So what would Machiavelli do? He'd keep his results public, but his process private. He'd seem open while concealing his true mechanics. A leader must be ready to act against trust, against kindness, against compassion, against principles, to secure power. Translation: appear honorable, act decisively. Don't share your tactics, don't reveal your systems, don't announce your plans until they're complete. Let them think you're idle. Let them think you're paused. Then surpass them with a silence they didn't expect. Control the narrative. Guard the blueprint. Principle 5. Craft a persona. Then let it crack. Machiavelli knew something every strategist now exploits. Perfection is forgettable. Imperfections are captivating. So you create a persona. You appear confident, composed, insightful, calm. But once, let it slip. Show a calculated flaw, a sharp remark, a measured vulnerability, a sudden insight that hints at depths they didn't suspect. Why? Because people don't fixate on what they fully grasp. They fixate on what's just beyond reach. Give them most of the picture. Then go quiet. They'll chase the missing piece for years. A wise leader projects virtue while being ready to act otherwise. So be the beacon, then reveal a shadow. Let them glimpse the void, then close the veil. You'll become unforgettable, not because they admired the persona, but because they saw it falter, and now they crave what's beneath. Principle 6. Say less than needed. Always. When people talk too much, they expose their fragility, their need for approval, their fear of being misread, their reliance on clarity. But the one who speaks precisely, stopping short of excess, commands the space. Machiavelli didn't speak to be understood. He spoke to create distance. He used words like daggers, not cushions. In a deal, a dispute, a tense moment, he'd offer one line, two at most, then let the pause speak louder. And that pause? That's where dread begins. Why? Because now they project. They wonder. What does he know? Why isn't he reacting? What's his next move? You've said nothing. But they've spun a saga in their minds, and you're the enigma they can't outwit. So what do you say in power? Just enough. Not to satisfy, not to impress, just to steer their thoughts. Then stop. Let them lean forward. Let them guess. Let them worry. Because true mystery is forged in the gaps between words. Principle 7. Blur the line between foe and friend. In today's world, people crave clarity on alliances, enemies, safety, and threats. Machiavelli would never grant that certainty. He'd dine with rivals, praise opponents publicly, support those he planned to displace. Why? Because when people see you as dangerous, they brace for battle. But when they see you as neutral, they relax. And the best time to act is when they're at ease. A leader must be cunning to spot traps and fierce to deter threats. You must be both. So you applaud your rival's plan just before you outmaneuver them. You agree with the critic just before replacing them quietly. You seem passive until your absence becomes a weapon. Be warm, be supportive, be disarming until the moment you strike. And by then, it's too late to stop you. Modern translation? Say less, smile more, play neutral, then remove them while they're still unsure if you were even a threat. Principle 8. Make them feel secure just before you seize control. The easiest way to displace someone isn't by challenging them. It's by convincing them. You're no danger. You're their ally. You want their success. Then, when they trust you, you act. Machiavelli would mirror your patterns, adopt your language, praise your vision, and disagree gently. He'd never let you feel you're losing. He'd make you feel you're guiding him. And once you feel secure, he'd move decisively, swiftly, cleanly. By the time you feel betrayed, he's already in your place. People are so simple and driven by immediate needs that a deceiver will always find willing targets. So tell them what they want to hear. Show them what they want to see. And take what they never expected you'd claim, all while smiling. Principle 9. Foster dependence, then withdraw. To dominate someone, Machiavelli wouldn't intimidate. He'd assist them in ways that quietly built reliance. He'd offer unique knowledge, solve a problem no one else could, provide stability they hadn't earned, become indispensable without seeking credit. Then, he'd step back, not in anger, not for vengeance, just absence. Why? Because nothing unravels people faster than losing. People act honorably only when forced. When free, they falter. So Machiavelli would become your essential illusion, the one you didn't value until they're gone. That's how you become unforgettable. Create a need. Make them rely on you. Then step away mid-stride. They won't resent you. They'll resent their need for you, and spend years trying to fill the void. Principle 10. Turn favors into weapons. Most offer help to be liked. Machiavelli would offer help to gain leverage. If he gave you something, he'd ensure you remembered it. He wouldn't demand repayment. He'd collect through presence. You'd feel obligated. You'd feel diminished. You'd feel an imbalance you couldn't resolve. And that's the goal. You provide a solution, an edge, a favor. Then you pull back slightly. You don't ask for anything. You let the debt linger until they repay you with loyalty, favors, information, or submission. And if they forget, you remind them, subtly. Recall that time I helped just once, enough to make them feel you hold a piece of their pride. Favors, used patiently, become psychological binds, and the longer they go unacknowledged, the heavier they weigh. Principle 11. Forge loyalty by letting them betray others for you. People think loyalty comes from kindness. It doesn't. Machiavelli knew the strongest loyalty comes from compromise for your gain.
You don't force betrayal. You enable it. Let them share a secret they shouldn't. Let them bend a rule for you. Let them criticize someone to gain your favor. You never demand. You never push. You just leave the door ajar, and they step through. Now they're bound to you. Not by admiration, but by complicity. People protect what they've compromised for. So when someone betrays others for you, they're investing in you. And the more they invest, the less they can afford to lose you. That's how Machiavelli would build allies. Not through charm, but through entanglement. Principle 12. Dismantle alliances from within. Machiavelli didn't just outplay individuals, he unraveled networks. But not through direct attack, through corrosion. He wouldn't strike the alliance, he'd infiltrate it. He'd plant doubts, seeds of mistrust, misalignments in goals. Those who empower others destroy themselves. So he'd find the strongest link in the group and erode it with suspicion. I heard she questioned your role. Have you noticed he doesn't fully back you? I'm not saying anything. Just observe their actions. That's enough. You don't need to break the alliance. You let them break it themselves. Let their fear of disloyalty do the work. Because once trust fractures within a group, the entire structure collapses without a single strike. Principle 13. Reflect their doubts back at them, softly. Want someone to follow you without realizing it? Make them feel understood, but only in ways that amplify their insecurities. Not with insults, not with judgment. With subtle, well-timed remarks. You're so bold, especially for someone who doesn't seek the spotlight. You always manage, even when others overlook you. You're thriving, even if your confidence isn't always visible. What do these do? They trigger agreement from their doubts. And once you're the one who sees them, they attach. They defer. They fall under your emotional pull. Machiavelli knew that fear and doubt are stronger than threats, because threats spark resistance. But doubts open the door from within, and once you're inside, you're the only voice they trust. Principle 14. Never wield the blade. In every betrayal, in every decision, in every ruthless move. Machiavelli had one rule: let others take the fall. He'd shape outcomes, plant ideas, guide choices, but never stand in the spotlight. When someone needed to be removed, he'd make it seem they were always disloyal. When a rival needed to fall, he'd let them self-destruct, with just enough provocation. When chaos was needed, he'd feed both sides information, then step back before the spark ignited. Why? Because if you're seen as the aggressor, you gain enemies. But if you're seen as the inevitable choice after others fail, you gain allies. This is the Machiavellian art, the illusion of clean hands. You orchestrated it all. You controlled them all, but no one can prove it. And even if they suspect, you're already in the seat of power. Principle 15. Stay silent. Let them reveal everything. In any setting, the most powerful isn't the loudest. It's the one who says nothing and sees everything. Why? Because silence masquerades as passivity. Machiavelli would navigate today's noise, podcasts, rants, digital clamor, and win by staying silent. He wouldn't fill the quiet. He'd let others stumble in it. Here's how he'd wield it. Someone criticizes you. You stay silent. Someone seeks your stance. You smile and let them continue. Someone tries to provoke you. You blink, offer no reaction, and wait. That's silence. It forces them to talk more. And the more they talk, the more they expose. Their fears, their motives, their weaknesses. You don't need to probe. They'll confess everything, just to fill the void you've weaponized. Never fight with force what can be won with deception. And silence is deception's most refined form. Principle 16. Be unpredictable, but only when it counts. Machiavelli would never be erratic, but he'd be unreliable at pivotal moments. Why? Because predictability invites manipulation. If they know when you'll respond, they control the pace. If they know how you react under pressure, they plan the trigger. If they know you'll always be fair, they exploit it. But if sometimes you forgive, and sometimes you vanish, if sometimes you speak, and sometimes you let them drown in silence, if sometimes you engage, and sometimes you let them unravel, they fear you. Not because you're hostile, but because you're unreadable. Machiavelli knew. People are driven by love or fear. But fear stems from uncertainty, and the one they can't predict is the one they can't outmaneuver. Principle 17. Make your presence felt, even when absent. To dominate psychologically, you don't need to be present. You need to make them feel your influence when you're gone. How? By becoming the benchmark, the reference point, the shadow in every discussion. They question their choices because of how you once guided them. They can't fully celebrate wins because they wonder what you'd have done. They don't fully trust others because they recall your precision. This is psychological branding, not through content, but through presence. You imprint your influence by how you act when present. Deliberate, observant, controlled, precise. So when you're gone, they don't forget you. They measure everyone against you. Machiavelli wouldn't need to eliminate rivals. He'd leave such a strong impression that, even absent, they'd still follow his rules. Principle 18. Never threaten. Let fear work for you. Threats spark defiance. Machiavelli never needed to say, "I'll ruin you." He let others wonder if he could. That wondering, that psychological weight, far stronger than words. Here's how it works today. You don't say, "I could expose you." You just pause when they deceive and watch them falter. You don't say, "I'll sabotage your chances." You make one move, then stay silent. You don't say, "You're finished." You simply vanish from their world, letting them panic about your next step. Why? Because fear from imagination is stronger than fear from facts. Once they dread what you might do, they work for your approval, just to avoid finding out. Principle 19. Delay your retaliation until it's crushing. Machiavelli didn't believe in swift vengeance. He believed in observing, waiting, letting the offense fester until the moment was perfect. Harm should be delivered all at once, so their sting fades quickly. Benefits should be given gradually. This meant, when wronged, he didn't react. He studied them. He let them relax. He let them think they'd escaped. Then, one day, when they least expected it, he acted. Clean, calculated, devastating. Because vengeance isn't just about punishment, it's about control. When you react instantly, you let them set the pace. But when you wait, they live in unease. They can't enjoy their wins. They can't rest easy. They fear every quiet moment. And that fear, it does more damage than any outburst. Principle 20. Become a system, not a person. Machiavelli didn't seek admiration. He sought respect, not through charm, but by being indispensable. That's the modern strategy. Stop being a name. Become a structure, a concept, a standard. a method embedded in how others function. Teach others to think like you. Make yourself vital in systems others can't grasp. Embed your influence in decisions that linger after you're gone. So even if they don't want you, they can't operate without you. This is how legacies are built. You aren't just feared when present. You're remembered in systems they can't erase. That's not influence. That's enduring psychological dominance. Principle 21. Make them fear naming you. The ultimate power isn't fame. It's presence. Machiavelli would be the one people mention indirectly. You know who I'm talking about. Don't end up like that one. Remember how that played out? They wouldn't say his name, because even naming you feels like summoning something too vast to handle. You don't seek attention. You linger. You don't win debates. You shift the atmosphere. You become the one they hesitate to mention, because everyone else already knows the consequences. If Machiavelli were alive today, he wouldn't be shouting online. He wouldn't chase followers. He'd be woven into power structures, shaping outcomes behind smiles and silence. He'd be the voice in your mind saying, don't react, don't reveal. Let them speak first. And above all, don't seek respect. Position yourself so they can't function without it. That's how you triumph. Not with fame, with control.